WYMT.
Coming up on Mountain News at 6, shelters open in southern Kentucky as crews work to restore power in the region. And folks in Harlan County fared a little better during the winter storm. We'll have coverage from Pike to Pulaski counties.
And get ready for a frigid evening. Details are coming up.
The snow and ice on the ground right now is not going to melt quickly because temperatures are expected to stay below freezing for days. Tonight we are in store for some dangerous wind chills. Meteorologist Eric Gain has the latest on this first alert weather day.
All right, take a look at the scene now in Moorhead. This is I-64 west at Kentucky 801. You can see a salt truck that's moving across the interstate, and we got a little truck over here. But other than that, that's it. The roads have been pretty much clear throughout the day because of that ice that is still on some of the roadways. Take a look here now at live pinpoint Doppler. Actually, take a look here at the temperatures right now. We are in the teens, mid-teens in Whitesburg, 10 in Jackson, 12 in Moorhead, 12 in Somerset, as well as Monticello. But you factor in that feels like temperature. Look at Wise, right down to 5 below zero, already down to 1 below in Harlan, 3 below in Somerset, 1 below in Monticello, 16 in Whitesburg as well as Louisa. Now, we do have the extreme cold warning in effect for the western part of the viewing area. We have the cold weather advisory in effect for the eastern part of the viewing area. This goes into effect at 7 o'clock and goes throughout the morning hours of your Tuesday. That feels like temperature is going to go well below zero. Some places between 10 to 25 below, depending on your location. Now, live pinpoint Doppler radar showing a little bit of snow across portions of eastern Kentucky. Snow chances will taper off as we go throughout the overnight hours. But are we done with the snow chances? Details in the first alert forecast coming up in a few minutes. Steve.
All right, Eric, thank you. There are still many homes in southern Kentucky that will likely not have electricity tonight. About 6,000 customers remain without power in Pulaski County alone, with temperatures becoming very dangerous overnight. And as the power restoration continues, shelters have been set up. WYMT's Phil Pendleton is at a warming center and shelter in Somerset.
About a dozen people have come here to the shelter at the Center for Rural Development. They've come to the back part of the building and gone inside to find a warm place to stay. The shelter was set up Sunday morning about the same time that thousands of people began to lose power in this county. With everything frozen outside, it began feeling the same way inside for some Pulaski County folks.
We just got bitter cold. It was ice cold. Our noses got cold. Our bodies got cold. We just couldn't take it no more.
There were a dozen or so who took advantage of the shelter at the Center for Rural Development.
And what we're offering is someplace for people to get out of the cold, to be able to charge phones if they don't have electricity themselves, to keep them safe and to keep them fed.
So as the temperatures head downhill once more, local officials say they're doing all they can to make it easier for everyone.
But right now we're just having a lot of status checks, checking on people. We have a lot of homes without electric and a lot of elderly.
And it's so cold, the salt's not working real well. About 15, 16 degrees, but we're still salting and grading the best we can. It's just hard to cut the ice off.
There are also shelters set up at the New Life Church in Ferguson, also fire departments in Nancy, Mountain Victory, Burnside, and Ferguson. The Pulaski County Sheriff also told me that someone will come and get you and bring you to one of the shelters if you have no other way of getting there yourself. In Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WYMT Mountain News.
Phil, thank you. The outages have fluctuated frequently in Pulaski County. You can always track the status of those on the South Kentucky RECC website. And here's another website we look at as we look at the power situation as a whole in Kentucky. About 33,000 customers are still without power in the state. That's down from more than 70,000 at one point yesterday. As you can see, most of the outages are in south central Kentucky, so obviously that's where most of the ice accumulated. So hopefully they get power restored soon with these cold temperatures. In Pulaski County, an ambulance slid off the road earlier today. We have a picture from that scene. This is from Somerset Pulaski EMS. They say their ambulances are not equipped for four-wheel drive and urge folks to only call them if they are absolutely needed. They also say no one was hurt in that incident. As we continue our coverage of the winter storm, folks across the Commonwealth are dealing with all kinds of issues. WYMT's Neely Green is in Harlan County. She joins us live with how things are looking there. Neely?
Yeah, Steve, I am currently here in Harlan County, and as you can see, there is still snow on the ground. There's still snow coming down right now. It's really cold. But earlier today, I talked to Judge Executive Dan Mosley, and he says the switch back and forth between the rain, the sleet, and the snow has just been causing a lot of issues.
The side roads are still a mess. It's just everything froze over, and it's a mess.
On top of the snow and sleet, parts of Harlan County received up to 2 inches of rain, even causing issues on roadways.
Up there on 421, and I think it took about a truckload of material of some rock and debris that had fallen on that road.
Mudslides aren't the only hazard on the roadways. Ice overnight became too slick for their own road crews, as one driver was involved in a crash as he was working to clear a road.
He hit ice and his tires slid over off the road onto the hill, and it caused the vehicle to overturn, but it came back to rest upright on its wheels.
Mosley says the driver is in good shape, but reminds people that ice can make the roadways change quickly.
Folks, take heed to that and understand that it is that dangerous. If these folks that are trained, that are equipped to handle conditions like this, are having this much trouble on ice, certainly the rest of us are going to have problems as well.
If you do have to travel, there are some practices to put into place to ensure you make it safely to your destination.
Just make sure that you leave space in between the vehicle in front of you, that you allow extra travel time to reach your destination. That's critical, to where you're not in a big hurry to get somewhere.
Mosley says if you do have to leave and you don't feel comfortable driving out in these conditions, there are first responders on duty, and they will try their best to get you to where you need to be, and they'll just assist you as much as they can. But for now, I'm Neely Green in Harlan County.
All right, Neely, get into somewhere where it's warm. Thank you. Mosley says Harlan County has been very fortunate during this event, and they have not seen any major power outages. Well, in the past, Harlan County has certainly had issues during severe weather, but is generally, once things start thawing out, when water problems begin, especially with a rapid change in temperatures.
The creeks had exceeded their banks, with what you would call just ditches, basically ditches overflowing, where culverts were stopped up.
Mosley says as long as the area has electricity, utility districts should be able to use the tanks and pump stations like normal. We want to get to a couple more photos you sent in from the winter storm. Here's a picture submitted by a viewer out of Emelina in Knott County. You can see the snow and ice covering the trees and causing limbs to sag a little bit there. Emergency management officials say the snow is moving out of the region, but danger for people in the area still remains. WYMT's Buddy Forbes continues our coverage from Pike County.
Pike County Emergency Management Director Nee Jackson says no major issues were reported Monday as the snow and rain moved out of the mountains and electricity was restored throughout the county.
Nothing more than, some medical calls and then also some accidents.
However, officials say the cold weather will continue to be an issue in the days to come.
This cold front that's ushered in behind all that moisture that we had this past weekend, there's not a whole lot of thaw involved in what we're looking forward to.
Governor Andy Beshear hosted a news conference Monday saying the entire state was impacted by the icy hit.
The system has now moved out of the eastern side of our state, but I want to emphasize we are not in the clear yet.
Jackson says the county has not seen any house fires, and the work of the area crews paired with the vigilance of community members has had an immense impact on the county's response.
We have experienced a lot of cold temperatures, but we have been very blessed and fortunate that we didn't have any more power outages, and that folks have stayed in and not tried to get out and be on the roadways.
Governor Beshear said not every county has been as fortunate.
I think we've got 3 deaths that we are investigating, and whether or not they were caused by this storm, we don't want any others.
Which is why officials are still recommending folks heat smart, stay off roadways, and limit their time in the elements.
Folks, if you can, try to stay in as long as possible.
In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
And in case you missed it at 5:30, Governor Beshear has now confirmed 1 fatality for sure related to the weather in Whitley County. Jackson says if you have to travel for work or something unavoidable, you should have an emergency kit on hand. In Claiborne County, Tennessee, a crash caused by black ice resulted in the death of an 8-year-old. Tennessee Highway Patrol troopers say it happened last Thursday. It was when an SUV was heading north on State Route 63 and ended up hitting black ice and sliding off the road before hitting a mailbox and then a rock embankment. 3 others were injured in the crash, including the driver, a 62-year-old Herman Vandergriff. THP says charges are pending against Vandergriff and another passenger, Rose Dixon. Officials with the Kentucky Emergency Management have some tips for folks if you happen to be sitting still on the roadway. If you find yourself stuck in a winter storm, they say to call 911 immediately. They also say to run the engine in your car up to 10 minutes per hour to maintain heat and charge your cell phone. And to ensure proper ventilation, open your window slightly to allow some fresh air circulation.
All right, live pinpoint Doppler radar right now showing some snow across portions of eastern Kentucky. This is going to push its way to the south and the southeast as we go throughout the next few hours. Details coming up.